Hi guys, my name is Jay Link and welcome to my first ever video review. This is a review of LBX Shadow Lucifer from the Danball Senki W series. If you guys don't know what LBX is or what Danball Senki is, it's a TV show in Japan that just recently came to America. It's called Danball Senki in Japan, and it's called LBX in America because that LBX is what the toys are called. It stands for Little Battlers Experience, and it just came out on Nicktoons. Well, about 6 months ago or so, I watched IX Rollout IX's reviews on Rollout Reviews on YouTube, and I watch him for his beat 'em on reviews primarily because I'm really into those. And he started showing LBXs to people because people asked him to. Now, at first, I didn't think they were that great. I mean, I saw Dot Phaser and Orvane, Valsparos, and that was alright. But then after a while, I decided, I'm going to start looking on my own to see other LBXs that are on Amazon and eBay and just normal things online. And I found a lot of really, really cool robot designs. And so I was like, okay, I'll watch the show. So I started off with the first season before it came to America. And now this is my favorite kids show ever. I mean, ever. It's kind of a little kid dream of mine to always have a pocket-sized robot that you can control and have fight. I mean, I love Gundams, I love Zoids and stuff like that. I even like Power Rangers with their giant robots, but there's just something about having a little robot you can carry around with you and fight against other people and you can fix by hand that I've always wanted to see in TV. So when I saw this show, it kind of blew my mind. I mean, it was really cool. So I started getting the models, and I'm not going to go into detail on which ones I started with. Right now, I'm kind of just giving you an intro, and then I'm going to tell you about Shadow Lucifer here. See, first we're actually going to look at the box that Shadow Lucifer comes in. Now, the designs on the boxes I always thought were really, really cool, and I kind of think Sprue Kits is messing them up a little bit, but hey, at least they're actually putting the names in front of the robots on those instead of behind them, because that always bothered me. Anyway, so here he is with his normal weapons, his sword, his shield, and then there he is in the corner we're going to take a look at, which is his crossbow. Now, slight spoilers from the show here, that crossbow never shows up in the show. In fact, Shadow Lucifer himself only shows up in one episode, episode 5 of Danball Senki W specifically. And I just think he's cooler than the original Lucifer. But the fact that even though he's a very recent LBX, he's like the latest one at the moment of this video, he still has the same sprues and the same parts from the first season LBX. They just added a couple new ones, like the horns are different, the shoulder pads are different, obviously the wings, the tip of the sword, that's actually all that's different. Everything else is just black instead of white. Looks cool, but kind of disappointing when we take a look at the actual model itself. On the side here, basically shows off the core chip gimmick that's inside of the chests of all these guys. Basically shows off how he looks from the back, shows the weapons, and then the shield turning into the crossbow, shows him doing some kind of special effect as a crossbow, and his user down here. We'll take a look at that when we take a look at the manual he comes in. Side just shows that he's number 59 of the sprue kits in the normal line. I mean the LBX kits in the normal line. Our front picture there. Here's customization. Now, another great thing, I'm going to get close up here. Another great thing I love about LBXs is the fact that you can customize them between each other. All of them have similar joints and hands and waist joints and things like that. I'll show that off more when we take a look at the actual model, but as you can see, they take an LBX whose name I can't think of right off the top of my head. It's a really weird one from Danball Senki W. Right here, that green and black one. Sorry, I bumped my camera. Magna Orthus, he's really cool. My brother has him. It's the first one he got. And Emperor Mark III, which is in a really cool kit I want to get my hands on, but I couldn't find online at the moment on Amazon. So, anyway, he's really cool too. And he has the arms from him, the weapon from him, the torso from Lucifer, and the head from Lucifer, and then Magna Orthus's legs. And I always thought that was really awesome, where you can make your own little robot to battle with each other. And here's this side, which is just this side. And, well, that's the box. So let's take a look at the manual now. Alright, so here is the manual that comes with all Japanese versions of LBXs. It's not really a book, which would be nice. Only the hyperfunction model kits come with those. By the way, these are model kits. I forgot to mention that earlier. But anyway, it shows his user, Kosuke Kamina. You would have to watch the show. I'm not going to spoil that too much for you. And then here is the model kit itself. Now, one thing I really need to stress, and this is actually a very, very annoying thing for me, being a collector. These pictures, all the product images, are painted models. They're not what you get right out of the box. Out of the box, you get stickers that you put on them to make them look nice and look show accurate. But since this is a normal model kit and not the hyperfunction, there's actually a lot of detail missing. Like you'll see, there are these little gold lines on the black parts of the shield there that aren't on the model itself. Like you don't even get stickers for those. And it just looks nicer. And if you're a collector and you're an adult and you think the show's really cool and you just like this guy in particular, you can paint him yourself. I mean, probably wouldn't be that difficult if you know what you're doing. And if you're a kid, have your parents help you. In fact, even though these are kid-friendly models, I very much suggest that kids have their adult parents or older siblings help them out. Because it can be a little difficult. It's not exactly a fast process. If you look on the inside, everything is colored and laid out. I mean, they got all the sprues that come in the kit. The fact that you can take these off by hand, which is really, really easy. Customization down there. Sorry, I got that way too close to the camera. A little pose you can get with a stand. He doesn't come with a stand, sadly. You have to buy those separate online. You can get a Tamashi stage or an action base. Would work great. It shows you make the torso first, which has a lot of steps. Basically, the thing itself is very easy to follow because it's all in color and they use a number system for their manuals instead of using like purely Japanese words. But there's numbers and arrows. It's for kids, so it's going to be able to be, and you're going to be able to follow it. I'm just saying you might want to have some help from a parent, and it'll actually be a really fun process. But some of them can take anywhere from 45 minutes to 2 hours for the normal kits. Anyway, here's the back, and they show the one I really want here, which is a conversion model called Dot Blaze. I know I'm kind of rambling here as that first review. I just want to kind of get my bases down. So, Dot Blaze looks really cool. There's Achilles 2, Emperor Mark 5/Emperor Mark 3. That's also a conversion model. And then right here, this little guy is called D Regadia, and I apologize if I'm kind of destroying that name, but he's my favorite LBX of all time. I just got him, so spoilers there. He's going to be the next review after I'm done filming this one. But anyway, so I just wanted to show you, this is the original Lucifer here from the first season. Said he's actually in towards the end. He's one of the main bosses. And as you can see, he's got purple wings and purple sword and purple wings, purple details. Now, that's the problem with the early model kits, is the fact that they weren't always show accurate. He actually uses, his wings should be much, much bigger than that, which is annoying. It should be a lot bigger. It was pink, which, you know, for boys, they're like, oh, I hate the color pink, it's really... No, it looks really nice, and if you want to get an LBX of him that is show accurate and you like the show, even if you see it in the American version, buy the hyperfunction. I know it's like 40 something bucks as opposed to 20 something bucks to get a hold of, but it's worth it. A lot more show accurate, same size and everything. It's just a lot better kit overall. But that's why I'm glad and my brother bought this, because if there's any normal model kit Lucifer I would want, there's only two obviously, but it's Shadow Lucifer, because he is show accurate minus the whole crossbow, and that's just a bonus. I mean, Shadow Lucifer's wings were this size, his, well, boosters or whatever, we'll take a look at those in a minute. But they were all the same size, same color, the same nice green. He kind of glowed in the show, but unless you're going to squeeze some LED lights in there, that ain't happening with this guy anytime soon. But you can put him in front of a light. It looks really nice. Anyway, so enough of the piece of papers and the boxes. Let's get to the whole point of watching this show in the first place. Give me a moment and I'll get the kit ready for you. Now here is Shadow Lucifer, and he looks pretty damn cool if you ask me. But I'm going to start with his problems before I get to the parts that I like first, because he has quite a few issues for one of these LBX model kits. You see, I've actually had to go through and fix this guy with super glue, and I'm not like anything broke. Nothing broke, don't worry. I mean, even though it is all plastic, be careful, especially translucent plastic isn't the strongest in the world. And he didn't really break, it's more his parts didn't hold together very well, and I fixed him to the point where I could fix him. His shoulder pads are actually a lot harder to turn now, but before they were flying off. But we'll show off the articulation right here, so I will take away his weapons. You know, they're cool, we'll take a look at them later. And I said I'll show off the articulation, set these off to the side. He's got ball joints in the arms that go up like this high without hitting the wings, this far back without hitting the wings. Kind of hard because, as I said, I glued it. Yours probably won't have this much of an issue. But they go out about this far without popping out of joint with a hinge that's in there behind the armor. And kind of hard to use that hinge in the first place. There's an extra hinge. Sorry, as I said, these are model kits, and armor and parts will fall apart. Anyway, shoulders work just fine. You've got a bend in the elbow, almost 90 degrees, I apologize. Almost 90 degrees. The reason why it isn't 90 is just because of the design of this guy. In fact, you can actually get him to break his arm and go 90 degrees the other way if you want to, but if you're a sadist, have fun with that. Articulation in the wrist, kind of tight, but I did that on purpose because it said he was having problems when we first got him out of the box. Rotation in the hip, and since I said this is based off of an earlier one, and said they pop off, you can switch parts, but it doesn't have a ball joint in there. Danball Senki Wars model kits do. Like the next one we're going to look at, but you usually can't get a lot out of it. It's just there to make it easier to pop out and put in other LBXs, but that's besides the point. You're going to have to look at it all on your own. If we move the arms out of the way, almost dropped them. If I move the arms out of the way, his skirt armor can go up and down here, which is good. No rotation, just up and down to get out of the way. No articulation in the front skirt or the back skirt, which is a real bummer. His leg can go this far out on its own. It can go this far back on its own without when it gets kind of stuck on the skirts. Both legs can do that, by the way. A bend in the knee about 90 degrees. So that's all you can get out of this guy, which is kind of a bummer, but that's how most of these model kits are. A ball joint in the ankle. He can go this far this way, this far this way, this far back, and this far forward. Forward, he has practically completely flat. He has no forward articulation because of this little joint here. The foot blocks it with this armor, so that's a huge bummer with his articulation. The wings itself, as I said, oh, I apologize, the horn fell off. As I said, this is a model kit, and I'm going to get to the horns in a minute anyway. Sorry, that's really hard to find the joint that this goes into. Sorry, this is taking too long. There we go. Anyway, he's got a ball joint in the wings. See, there's a little socket here and a little poly cap, kind of like Gundam kits. And you pop this into the joint, and it gives it a little articulation, so you can move it around however you want. Same thing with this side, freaking move it around. There's a joint here, so you can get this little connection there. It's basically a peg that went in there, but as I said, that was one of the major issues he had, where the connection wasn't strong enough in those holes to hold these wings up. So I actually put a bit of glue in there, so it's kind of scary to take them in and out and move them around too much without breaking them. Translucent plastic is very fragile. There's a joint back here, a small one, kind of a hinge in this little booster. You can see that. So that's pretty interesting. Gets out of the way. No articulation, thankfully, in his horns. As you saw before, it kind of fell out. And his horns are really cool, but they're really loose on this guy. I mean, that's the only part I didn't fix, because since this is based off the original model kit, he comes with a few extra parts. And one of the extra parts is the original the original horns of Lucifer. You can actually put these cool ones in there, and they're just like the normal kit. And you can have these instead of the translucent ones if you don't like the translucent ones or having a problem sticking. These stick in a lot better, but that's just on mine. There's a lot of quality control with these little robots. Makes them really neat. Now let's take a look at his armaments. Man, that's a really weird word to say. Let's look at his weapons, shall we? I apologize, I bumped the camera again. This is going to get really big. Anyway, I gotta stop criticizing. Anyway, sorry, I gotta talk a lot. Here's his sword. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but it's really cool sword. I like it. The normal Lucifer just had a pink blade, or a purple blade if you got the original kit. It just had a little normal blade that went out to the same length as this, but it was just one solid blade. This one's really cool. It's kind of got like this double blade thing going on here, and it's got this little hook at the end, and it just looks really neat. I like it a lot, and there's not a lot to it. It's just a sword, but this is translucent plastic. This is a sticker. This is a sticker. Sword. There you go. The shield I like too, but at the same time not too much. It's gonna have a little bit more stuff when we show the crossbow off, because he's a huge part of it. But there's just 3 stickers. There's a big sticker right here, big sticker right here, and a tiny little sticker right there. If I can get it in closer. They're cool, they're nice and shiny and stuff, and if you can align them properly, they don't look too bad. It just has an ordinary handle back here. So you slide that backwards into his hand, or you can actually remove this, turn it around, and put it in this way if you want to put it in the other hand, or you just want to put it in the hand forward instead of backward. I always prefer it backward for some reason. I just think it makes it work better in the long run. But I do really like this shield. It's really cool. So let's give him his basic weapons. And I'll quickly go over the stickers because I forgot to do that. Thank you, Lucifer, for falling over. As I said, he's kind of hard to stand up. That's like another problem. He's got like no heels and like wide feet in the center and no forward articulation. So he either falls forward on his face or he falls backwards. But I also forgot to show you, since he is based off of a Season 1 kit, he has this thing, which works. Sorry, it's kind of a tight joint. Tight connection, whatever. The back of the hand can come off. It's just like the normal Lucifer and all the Season 1 kits, where this back cover comes off. And that makes it so you have any weapons, like Achilles' Lance or Emperor's Mace, you can put it in the back of the empty hand and then just put the cover back on like this. There we go. You can just put the cover back on the hand so it can hold the weapon, because if you don't, it'll just fall right out. That's cool for being an early kit and everything, but when you get these recreations, these remolds and recolors of old LBXs, I kind of wish they would convert it to the new style, because the new ones have rubber in their hands and it works a lot better than this. I mean, see, this is like really loose. It's kind of hard to keep the hand in there. It falls right out. So, kind of a problem there, but both of his hands do that. And let's give him his other shield. Just put it, I like doing it through the back of the hand. So when you get to the Season 2 and Season 3 kits, when they change these hands, you'll understand why I do that. But I'm not going to explain it right now because I'm already running really long on time here. His eyes are stickers. Oh, I also forgot ball joint, double ball joint in the head, which is really nice. I was going to show that off, but I bumped his horn. But there's a ball joint. It's really good. On the top of the head, and there's another one lower in his neck, so you can kind of get this slow motion going on, where you can like bob like a chicken, which is pretty cool. Gives him a lot of pulsability with the face. Now we'll take a look at the stickers. I'm just gonna set that over to the side right now. There's a sticker right here for the black. Actually, most of his black details on the gold are stickers. Thankfully, this isn't. This is plastic inside of an airlayer plastic, and I wish every part would do that, because these stickers, according to my brother is the one that threw this kit together. He's 19, so he still knows what he's doing. Well, he's almost 19. Anyway, these are stickers, and he was complaining about these. They don't attach well. It's hard to line up, and they're already getting scuffed. You can see that there. They're already starting to get a little scuffed. But there's two stickers there that meet up. There's a sticker back here, and there's supposed to be two, right? One here and one here. They're black to add detail like the rest of those, but they were too hard for him to put on, and they broke the first time. So he didn't put the second one on. Anyway, these are plastic, 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 and plastic, so that's really nice. There's stickers on both of the wings that just wrap around, which I guess is okay, but as I said, I would have preferred if that was all plastic, or at least mostly plastic. I think it would just hold together better, it would look better, and it wouldn't fall apart so easy. So I'm going to do a little subtle jump cut. So here I brought in Dot Blasterizer, who's a really cool LBX, and my brother happened to buy these at the same time, and got them at the same time, built them. He likes them both equally, by the way, because they're both really cool. I mean, this one's from Danball Senki Wars, this one's from the season before, but anyway, that's besides the point. The reason why I have them here is I'm actually going to show off the customization gimmick that LBXs have, which I think is really, really cool, as I said before. I gotta stop saying that. Anyway, he's really cool. He's really cool. So let's make him put them together and have another really cool LBX. So the way this works is the heads, pop it off, have joints on the inside that connect to ball joints on the top. And they all have the same exact ones. If you look here, sorry, his face came off, part of his transformation. I'm not planning on doing a review of Dot Blasterizer, but he is going to be in the next review, and you'll find out why when I do that. But see, there's a hole there, and a peg joint there. And then the arms, take that shoulder pad off for a second. The arms, he's really tight on here, pop off, and they got a ball joint which fits into a hole, and then you can take off the hips like this, and here are all the pieces that make up the main part of an LBX. Well, I forgot about the weapons, but sword fell down. Anyway, here are all the pieces that make the bulk of an LBX. The head, the arms, the weapons, etc. And as I said, they're all universally able to connect with each other. So what I'm going to do is I took apart Shadow Lucifer, and I'm going to do the same thing with Blasterizer. Now, since Shadow Lucifer is based off of, basically a Season 2 LBX based off of Season 1, he doesn't have these multi-gimmick sack guys that the Danball Senki Wars line has, so it's a little bit less customization I can actually do with these two. But I can just show the basics here. So we'll take the torso off, like that, and take off his arms, here, and here. Now, what I mentioned before is that the new ones have ball joints in there, and some of them you can get kind of a ball joint out of it, but that's really just there to make it easier to pop them in and out. With the LBXs, these ones have these old like groove system going on, so I can see why they changed it. They still work just fine. It's just it's a little bit easier for these guys to fall off than these guys when they're jointed in. So I can see why they changed it, like I said. But what we're going to do is take Shadow Lucifer's body and pop it into Blasterizer's legs, like this. Then we can take Blasterizer's arms, pop it in here. The same on this side. And then the head. Doing this to show off the fact that all the joints are the same. So you can put all of them on the body, which that's really cool. And then you can give them the weapons. And I mentioned earlier that there's rubber in the hands of these guys, and that's why I gotta take this cover pad off because his hands are really thick with it on. Anyway, there's rubber in these things, so that's why I like putting these in backwards, otherwise the hands slide off. See, that's really cool looking. Got Dot Blasterizer with Shadow Lucifer's body and weapons. That's really cool. Put him off to the side. You can do the same thing with Shadow Lucifer. Put Dot Phaser's torso up there. Just gonna make him a lot harder to stand now, I just noticed, because he already had issues with that. And now I just put a heavy backpack thing on his back. My bad. Oh. Put his head on there. Arm. Arm. There he is, all hunched over. You can give him Dot Phaser's guns. They come with his multi-gimmick sack on his back. They fit in the hands just fine, but it's a little tight since it's plastic on plastic instead of rubber, like the normal hands are. Slide this one on here. I'm getting Shadow Lucifer ready to blast up some fools, and Blast Riders are getting ready to fly and shank somebody in the face. So these guys, and so that's pretty damn cool. And the last gimmick I wanted to show off for you guys that all LBXs can do, which is another thing that's really cool, especially for role playing, is that in their chest, that's why I just have his chest here, so I can get the arms out of the way and stuff, you pop the front off. All of them pop off differently depending on the LBX. And you remove this little cover, and they all have a chip on the inside of their chests. The older season ones had a little piece of plastic that you put in there that's translucent, nice and shiny. The new ones from Wars don't have that. What you do is you remove the chest and they just show like a printed image. And it's not really like, I call it a chip because it's a piece of plastic that comes out, but what it really is that in the show they got core boxes in their chest where you put all their motors and CPUs and stuff like that. And that's basically their Bondi and Danball Senki's way of showing that in their model kit line. Very, very cool. Kind of useless if you think about it, but as I said, it's good for role playing if you're hanging out with a bunch of friends and you just feel like role playing with LBXs for whatever the reason. Each their own. But I thought that was pretty cool. So his crossbow is the newest thing that comes with this kit, especially because it was never used in the show. As I said, he was only in the end of one episode, and he only used his sword and shield like the original Lucifer, so they kind of bundled it in as, hey, here's this cool little crossbow thing you can do with his shield. Alright, so what you do is you take the shield, and this plastic piece comes off like this, and then you set this off to the side. By the way, here's those stickers I was telling you about. Plastic goes over the top and seals it off. Anyway, so you take this piece, and then you take this piece, and there's two holes there, and then two tiny little pegs here like in the shield, and you just pop this on where the one part of the shield went. Kind of make it secure. It kind of pops up, so be careful. And there's a handle here. Then you take this handle on the back and you remove this, and you take this goofy looking piece and you put that, there's pegs there, and you put those in the holes that the handle used to go into. Then you take the handle and you put that either way you want. I'll put it this way in those slots there, so that way you can hold it like you held the shield. Then you take these pieces, these black detailings there are all stickers, which is really annoying in my opinion, but I'm not going to keep complaining. It's kind of a bad thing to hear me do, is just bitch about this thing, because I really do like him, but instead he's got some problems for just the way that he was made, but that's besides the point. And here is his trident crossbow. These two just have pegs there, a peg in, They have some articulation, but for the most part, you kind of want these like straight. And this is pretty cool. I like the little translucent trident there. It is removable, and then it just kind of has this little connection there. It slides in there when you're putting it together. So that's really cool. I kind of would have preferred if that was like a different option for the sword, like it would slide into the sword to make it kind of a trident thing going on, but now they didn't do that. But this is pretty cool. Said it's just the definition of not show accurate because you never see it in the show. Anyway, so you take his hands and oh shit, that bit fell off. Pardon my language. Anyway, you take his hands and you slide this either way you want. I mean, it doesn't really matter how you put this in one of his hands, but you slide it into his hand and then you line it up. Line everything up, and you got to get this piece into his other hand. Make sure that thing doesn't fall off, and then try to get it into a pose where he's holding it up. Try to get him in a pose, like a badass pose where he's holding the whole thing up, which is hard to do if your guy's joints are really loose, like this one was when he first came out of the box. But anyway, here is his cool crossbow trident. He kind of holds it like a sideways minigun. I mean, this is the easiest way to get him to hold it. Kind of how he's holding it on the box, maybe a little more tilted upwards, but then that kind of covers his face too much. But I think it's really cool. I like how it comes with them. All the LBXs have pretty much the same size hands, so you can have any of your other LBXs hold this weapon. I think it's cool. It's really nice, but it's too heavy for him. I mean, look, without me holding him, like, it's really hard to get him in the pose where he can stay standing holding this thing, or even still hold it up. You just bump it a little when his arm goes down. Like, I put no force into that. Just one little tap and his arm falls down. It's kind of a bummer. But other than that, it's a really, really cool weapon. I like it. And I like this guy overall. He's got some major problems just for the way that he was built. But at the same time, he looks nice. And if you're okay with gluing some parts to make them a little bit tighter, or using some, like for the ball joints, you can use floor polish and things like that to tighten them up. He's a really good model to have, and you can find him for like 20 bucks on Amazon right now. And I think he's worthy of being in your collection. So that was my review of LBX 059 Shadow Lucifer. I apologize for poor video quality. I don't really have the best resources at the moment, and I'm not exactly very good at this, saying it's my first review. But thank you for checking it out. Right after this one, I'm doing LBX 058 Deregudia. It's kind of hard to pronounce his name. I don't know if that's correct, but close enough. Said, spoilers, I said this earlier, Deregudia is my favorite, so I'm really excited. But anyway, this was J-Link Reviews, and I'll catch you guys next time.